So this is me on grafting day. What I do with my cell builder, that's going to be the stand of the queen right part of the hive. So that hive there, that's my cell builder. In the bottom box is the queen, below a queen excluder, and in the top box I'd put about 10-11 days ago about 8 frames of sealed brood from various other colonies. It's actually quite a cold day. It's about 10 or 11 degrees Celsius, which is quite cold for the 5th of May, and we've had some cold weather lately. But by the time the cells that I graft today, by the time the larvae I graft today emerge and then the virgins get mated, we're well into towards the end of May, and hopefully the weather will be good for mating. So that's a new floor. And then even though they're facing a different way, I'm still putting the box in the same orientation, so that with a Langstroth, it's always the cold way, but the box that was at the front on the old stand the front is in the same position on the new stand. What you tend to get is brood forming at this side of the comb, and then honey towards the back. So anyway, now I'm going through the queenless box, and the point of this is to go through every single frame, make sure there's no queen cells, and make sure that there's no queen, which would be obvious because there would be eggs and larvae if there was a queen up there. So it's very important, this, because that box, the queenless one, is the one that's going to receive the grafted larvae, and if there was any queen in there, they'd obviously not make cells, and the queen would probably kill any cells that were made. So basically this is just to pull the frames out, shake all the bees off back into the hive, and make sure that there's no queen cells. And as you can see, the majority of the brood has emerged. There's a few sealed brood cells around the edge of the frame, but the vast majority has emerged, so the population of young bees in the hive is high. It's a slightly imbalanced situation where the majority of bees in this hive will be young bees, not old, which is great for wax building and cell raising. So anyway, I'll just skip through because this is just shaking frames and checking. So you just have to do every one. And as you can see, there's a clump of bees that have coalesced at a certain spot on my leg, and that grows throughout the video, and I don't really know. There must be, I think that's the pocket where my hive tool lives, so there's probably odours in there of other bees or queens or whatever that are attracting them. Okay, so that one's fine, and now I'm going to check this box, which is the one that has the queen in, just to make sure that there aren't any queen cells in there, which could happen. It's unlikely because the way I set this box up was just 1 or 2 frames of brood and everything else was an empty comb. So she's got absolutely loads of space, and you can see that comb's just not been touched yet. She's not got to that one yet, and so the chances of them producing queen cells down there was very low, but it's certainly worth checking. The other thing is I was looking for a pollen frame because I didn't have any pollen in the other box, and you definitely need some pollen sat next to the grafts, because that's important for feeding the developing queens. And what I found, not just in this hive but in many hives in this apiary, there isn't much pollen, and I think it's because of the poor weather. And it's quite a problem really. There's not much pollen, and the young larvae that are in most of the frames that I saw, they're not really awash with jelly. They're on sort of tight rations at the moment, and so that's not ideal, but I can't really do much about that. And the weather's set to improve in the next few days, and that they'll sort themselves out. So these last 3 frames here are the ones that have the brood on, proving that I've got a queen. I'm not particularly looking for the queen, I'm just looking for any cells and any pollen frame. But you can see there's some sealed brood. So I'll just advance this a bit. That lot of bees on my leg is really growing. Okay, so that's every frame checked, and to my disappointment there's no pollen. But there's also no queen cells, which is good. And I hope I didn't just kill the queen there, but never know, do you? Now what some beekeepers do, Richard Knoll does it and Mike Palmer does it, is that they would shake bees from the queen right colony, that bit there, they would shake bees into here to make it even fuller with bees. And if you do that, you obviously have to shake it through a shaker box, which is a brood box with a queen excluder on it, because you don't want to shake the queen in. But you could shake more nurse bees into this box, but I was happy with the amount of nurse bees there anyway, and the older bees that are in this hive are going to fly back to that hive because that's on the original site, so it's going to be full of bees, and I'm only doing about 20 odd cells, so I think that'll be fine.